Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and mysterious coins in American history, the 1966 United States Washington Quarter Dollar. This isn't just any ordinary coin you might find jingling in your pocket change. This one holds a story of transition, rarity, and hidden value that could surprise even seasoned collectors. If you ever thought a simple quarter could never be worth more than 25 cents, you're about to be amazed, because the 1966 Washington Quarter tells a story that bridges the end of an era and the rise of modern coinage, and some of these coins are worth a small fortune today. Let's take a journey back in time to the year 1966, a pivotal moment in U.S. coin history. The historic context behind the 1966 quarter. The mid-1960s were a time of major change for the U.S. Mint and for coin collectors across the country. Just 2 years earlier, in 1964, the United States officially stopped producing circulating coins with silver content. The 1965 Coinage Act marked the end of the silver era, changing the composition of quarters, dimes, and half dollars. This shift was driven by a national silver shortage and rising metal prices, which made it too expensive for the mint to continue producing coins made of 90% silver. By 1966, the Washington Quarter was now made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. To the untrained eye, it looked similar to its silver predecessors, but for collectors and historians, this coin represented the birth of modern American coinage. But the changes didn't stop there. Because of the massive coin hoarding that followed the silver shortage, the mint decided to remove mint marks entirely from all coins made in 1965, 1966, and 1967. That means there's no P, D, or S on the 1966 quarter, no way to tell exactly where it was minted, though most were struck in Philadelphia and Denver. So when you look at a 1966 Washington quarter, that smooth, unmarked field beneath the eagle or above the date holds a secret. It's part of one of the most unusual chapters in American coin history. The design of the 1966 Washington Quarter. The design of this coin is iconic. On the obverse, or front side, we see the dignified profile of George Washington, facing left. His image has graced the quarter since 1932, designed by sculptor John Flanagan to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Washington's birth. Above his head, the word "Liberty" is boldly inscribed, while beneath his chin, you'll find the national motto, "In God We Trust." The date 1966 rests proudly below Washington's neck, a symbol of both continuity and change. Continuity, because his image remained; change, because the metal beneath was no longer the silver that defined American quarters for generations. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the reverse design featuring a majestic bald eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows of war and an olive branch of peace. The words "United States of America" arc across the top, with "E pluribus unum" beneath, meaning out of many, one. And at the bottom, of course, the denomination reads, quarter dollar. It's simple, timeless, and powerful, a design that endures as a symbol of American pride and craftsmanship. The mintage and distribution of the 1966 quarter. The year 1966 saw a huge mintage for the Washington Quarter. Over 821 million coins were produced. That might make you think this coin is common, right? Well, not so fast. Even though millions were minted, not all 1966 quarters are created equal. Many of these coins were mass-produced quickly to meet the country's growing demand for coins, leading to lower quality strikes, weak details, and excessive wear. But hidden among these ordinary coins are a few extraordinary examples that collectors and experts have come to cherish. There were also special coins known as Special Mint Set or SMS quarters made in 1966. These coins were created as part of a collector-focused release since the U.S. Mint did not produce proof sets in 1965, 1966, or 1967. The Special Mint Set quarters often have a satin-like or mirrored finish, showing sharp details and smooth surfaces. Finding one of these in pristine condition, especially with unique die varieties, can dramatically increase its value. What makes the 1966 quarter valuable? Now, here's where things get truly interesting. The value of a 1966 Washington quarter depends on several key factors: condition, rarity, and errors. First, let's talk about condition. A well-preserved 1966 quarter that has never been circulated, what collectors call mint state, can command much higher prices than one that's been through countless vending machines. Coins graded MS-65 or higher are scarce, especially with perfect luster and no scratches or contact marks. Next, we have rarity. Although there were hundreds of millions minted, certain die varieties and rare SMS examples make some of these quarters extremely valuable. And finally, the most exciting part, error coins. During the transition from silver to clad composition, the mint experienced several striking and planchet mistakes. Some 1966 quarters were accidentally struck on leftover 1964 silver planchets. These rare silver 1966 quarters are among the most sought-after coins in American numismatics. Imagine holding a 1966 quarter that rings like silver instead of the duller tone of copper nickel. That's a rare find worth serious money. Other known errors include off-center strikes, double dies, and missing clad layers, where the nickel coating didn't properly adhere, revealing the copper underneath. These types of errors not only make a coin unique but also skyrocket its value to collectors. The collector's passion and modern-day value coin collectors across the United States and around the world are fascinated by the 1966 Washington quarter because it marks the end of one era and the beginning of another. It's not just a coin, it's a piece of history you can hold in your hand. In circulated condition, most 1966 quarters are worth their face value, just 25 cents. But in uncirculated condition, or if you have a rare error or SMS version, the value can climb dramatically. A stunning example of a 1966 special mint set quarter with deep cameo contrast can fetch hundreds, sometimes thousands, of dollars depending on the grade, but that's not all. Over the years, collectors have paid incredible amounts for near-perfect examples graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC. The top-quality coins, preserved flawlessly since the day they were minted, stand as shining reminders of American history, and they bring in serious money at auction. The story of a record-breaking sale. Among the most remarkable stories is that of an extraordinary 1966 Washington quarter that stunned collectors at a major coin auction. This coin wasn't just any quarter, it was a flawless, pristine specimen that showcased mirror-like surfaces, razor-sharp detail, and unmatched beauty. Experts described it as one of the finest examples ever struck, with a level of perfection rarely seen in any coin from that transitional era. When the bidding began, collectors from around the world eagerly joined the competition. The price rose higher and higher as the audience gasped, until finally, the hammer dropped, sealing a record-breaking sale that sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. The final price paid for this incredible 1966 Washington quarter was $56,255. Yes, you heard that right, a simple quarter, once worth only 25 cents, sold for that astonishing amount. Why the 1966 quarter matters today beyond its value. The 1966 Washington quarter represents something deeper. It's a reminder of how even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary stories. It's about history, craftsmanship, and discovery. Every coin minted in that year carries a piece of America's journey through change, from silver to clad, from scarcity to innovation. Collectors today still search through rolls of coins, hoping to find that one special piece that sets their hearts racing. And who knows? Maybe one of these days, you'll pull a 1966 Washington quarter from your change jar and realize you're holding a piece of hidden treasure. It's coins like these that keep the passion of numismatics alive, because the thrill of discovery never fades. Whether you're an experienced collector or just starting your journey, remember that every coin has a story, and some stories are worth far more than their face value. We're diving into one of the most fascinating coins ever struck by the United States Mint, the 1776 to 1976 bicentennial Washington quarter dollar. This coin, known for its unique dual date, carries a legacy of patriotism, artistry, and in some very rare cases, a value that can reach tens of thousands of dollars. So, if you've ever come across a quarter with that special drummer boy on the back and wondered if it might be worth more than just 25 cents, then stay tuned, because this story is about a coin that's not just collectible, it's a true American treasure. The birth of a bicentennial legend. Let's go back to the mid-1970s, a time when the United States was preparing to celebrate its 200th birthday. The nation was filled with excitement, and the U.S. Mint wanted to do something extraordinary to mark the bicentennial of American independence. Instead of producing ordinary quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins, the Mint decided to create a special series that would reflect the pride and heritage of the country. In 1975 and 1976, the United States Mint struck the 1776 to 1976 bicentennial coins, each with a special reverse design commemorating the signing of the Declaration of Independence. For the Washington quarter, the Mint replaced the usual eagle on the back with a stunning image designed by Jack L. Ahr, a colonial drummer standing proudly, symbolizing the spirit of the Revolutionary War. The front of the coin, known as the obverse, still featured the familiar bust of George Washington, sculpted by John Flanagan. But there was one striking change: instead of a single date, it bore two, 1776 to 1976, marking 2 centuries of American freedom. The mint marks and their meaning. These special quarters were minted in several locations across the country: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D, and San Francisco, marked with an S. Each mint produced coins with its own distinctive features. The Philadelphia Mint made millions of circulation strikes without any mint mark. The Denver Mint, known for the D mark, struck billions of these quarters for everyday use. The San Francisco Mint produced special proof coins for collectors. These are the coins that often come in mirror-like finishes or silver compositions. But here's where things get interesting. While most of these quarters are common and can still be found in pocket change, a few have become extremely valuable because of unique characteristics, minting errors, and special varieties. The silver bicentennial quarters. In honor of the bicentennial, the Mint also created 40% silver versions of the quarter, half dollar, and dollar coins. These were not intended for general circulation but were sold in special collector sets. The silver composition made them heavier and more lustrous, and over time, they've become highly sought after by collectors. A silver bicentennial quarter has a distinct ring when dropped gently and carries a subtle white-gray hue. If you happen to find one, you might have something worth more than you think, especially if it's in mint condition or proof quality. Errors and varieties that bring big money. One of the reasons certain 1776 to 1976 quarters have become valuable is due to rare minting errors. These mistakes, made during the striking process, can turn an ordinary coin into a small fortune. Some of the most famous and sought-after errors include double die obverse or reverse. This occurs when the coin is struck twice slightly off-center, causing doubled images of letters or features. The words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" may appear doubled, and collectors love that. Off-center strikes. Sometimes, a coin gets misaligned in the press, resulting in part of the design missing. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, these can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Clipped planchet errors. This happens when a coin is struck on an incomplete metal blank, leaving part of the coin literally clipped away. Rare and eye-catching, these also command premium prices. Silver transitional errors. A few coins were accidentally struck on silver planchets instead of copper-nickel. These extremely rare errors can fetch thousands of dollars today. Each of these small differences can turn an average bicentennial quarter into a piece worth many times its face value, and the thrill of discovering one keeps coin collectors hooked. Proof and uncirculated sets. Hidden gems. The San Francisco Mint produced proof and uncirculated sets for collectors in both clad and silver versions. These coins were struck with extra care, polished dies, and high pressure to bring out fine details and mirror-like backgrounds. Proof coins can be recognized by their sharp, glossy appearance and frosted designs. They were never meant for circulation and often remain in pristine condition inside their original packaging. A silver proof set containing the bicentennial quarter can sometimes be worth hundreds of dollars, especially if still sealed. Uncirculated sets, on the other hand, feature coins that were struck for collectors but not given the mirror-like proof finish. They still hold extra value compared to regular circulation coins. Design that captures the American spirit. What makes the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter so iconic is not just its rarity or potential value, but the meaning behind its design. The drummer boy, with his colonial uniform and spirit of revolution, represents the determination and courage of the early Americans. Behind him are 13 stars, symbolizing the original 13 colonies that united to form the United States. The drum itself echoes the heartbeat of the revolution, calling citizens to stand up for freedom and unity. Jack L. Ahr, the artist behind this powerful imagery, succeeded in creating something timeless. Even decades later, collectors and historians still admire how the design perfectly encapsulates the essence of the bicentennial celebration, the journey of these quarters through time. Billions of 1776 to 1976 quarters were released into circulation, and they quickly became part of everyday life. People used them for groceries, tolls, and vending machines, often unaware that they were spending a little piece of history. For many Americans, these coins were a reminder of pride and heritage, a symbol of how far the nation had come in 200 years. Parents and grandparents tucked them away as keepsakes for future generations, hoping their value would grow with time, and indeed, time has proven that some of these coins have become treasures. The combination of nostalgia, artistry, and rarity makes them one of the most beloved U.S. coin designs ever created. How to identify valuable bicentennial quarters. If you want to check whether your 1776 to 1976 quarter might be worth big money, here's what to look for. Mint mark. Look just beside Washington's ponytail. A small D indicates it was minted in Denver, while an S means San Francisco. No mint mark means it's from Philadelphia. Composition. If the coin feels slightly heavier or has a silver edge instead of copper, it might be one of the 40% silver versions. Condition. Coins that look brand new, with no scratches or wear, are called mint state, or proof, and these can be worth much more than circulated ones. Errors. Check carefully for doubling in the letters, off-center strikes, or clipped edges. These errors can multiply your coin's value dramatically. Packaging. Coins still in their original mint sets or proof cases are generally more valuable. Collector demand and market trends. Over the years, the market for bicentennial coins has remained strong. Collectors love them not only for their beauty but also because they represent a defining moment in American history. Even casual coin collectors often start their journey with a 1776 to 1976 quarter, making it a gateway into the world of numismatics. Silver-proof versions, high-grade uncirculated coins, and rare errors have all seen price increases over time. As demand continues, the value of exceptional examples keeps rising, especially those graded by professional coin services such as PCGS or NGC, which verify authenticity and condition. Stories behind the value. There have been cases where lucky collectors discovered that a simple-looking quarter in their drawer was worth thousands. One famous example includes a 1776 to 1976 quarter struck on a silver planchet that sold at auction for several $1,000s. Another rare proof version, graded in near-perfect condition, fetched several $1,000s from an eager collector who wanted a flawless example of America's bicentennial pride. Every coin tells a story, and the story of the bicentennial quarter is one of national pride, artistry, and discovery. It reminds us that even the smallest piece of metal can carry the heartbeat of history. Why people love the bicentennial quarter. Collectors and history lovers adore these coins because they capture a sense of time, patriotism, and craftsmanship. They're beautiful to look at, fun to hunt for, and in some cases, incredibly valuable. Holding a 1776 to 1976 quarter is like holding a miniature monument, one that celebrates the journey of a nation from its birth to its bicentennial milestone. Whether you keep one as a family heirloom, a lucky charm, or an investment, it's a piece of history that continues to inspire generations. We are diving deep into the story, history, and value of one of the most talked about coins among collectors, the 1982 D Washington quarter dollar. Yes, this small yet powerful piece of American currency has captured the attention of numismatists and treasure hunters for decades. You might be holding one right now in your change jar or wallet without realizing just how special it could be. So, sit back, relax, and let's uncover the hidden secrets, design details, minting mysteries, and true worth of the 1982 D Washington quarter dollar coin, the birth of the 1982 D quarter. Let's rewind the clock to 1982, a remarkable year in U.S. history, filled with economic change and significant moments for American coinage. The Washington quarter, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, had already become one of the most popular and recognizable coins in circulation. But by 1982, something quite different was happening at the U.S. Mint, a major shift that would make the coins of that year particularly interesting for collectors. In 1982, the United States Mint decided not to produce any mint sets. Yes, you heard that right, there were no official U.S. Mint uncirculated coin sets that year. This decision led to a shortage of high-quality uncirculated examples of 1982 coins, including the Washington quarter. Because of this, collectors who wanted pristine versions of the 1982 D quarter had to find them directly from circulation or from bank rolls, which was no easy task. This scarcity of mint-condition coins is one of the reasons why the 1982 D Washington quarter stands out in the world of modern coin collecting. Design and details. The design of the 1982 D Washington quarter continues the tradition set back in 1932, when sculptor John Flanagan's portrait of George Washington was chosen to appear on the obverse side. Washington's proud profile faces left, with the word Liberty elegantly arched above his head and the motto, "In God We Trust," appearing to the left of his neck. Beneath Washington's portrait sits the date, 1982, and just beside it, the all-important mint mark D, signifying the Denver Mint. The reverse side of the coin features the majestic image of a bald eagle with outstretched wings, holding arrows, and an olive branch, symbols of both strength and peace. Above the eagle, the words United States of America appear in bold letters, with E pluribus unum just below, and the denomination, $quarter, at the bottom. Each coin has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, weighs 5.67 grams, and is composed of a copper-nickel clad, a combination of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. This metal composition gives it the classic silvery appearance that collectors know so well. The 1982 minting crisis. Now here's where things get even more interesting. The early 1980s were a time of major change at the U.S. Mint. Inflation was high, the price of metals was fluctuating, and production costs were under scrutiny. The decision to skip the production of mint sets in 1982 and 1983 was part of a cost-saving measure, but it accidentally created one of the biggest opportunities in modern coin collecting. Without official mint sets, collectors had to turn to the open market to find high-quality coins. But most of the quarters struck that year were released into circulation, meaning they quickly developed scratches, wear, and signs of use. Finding a 1982 D Washington quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition became incredibly difficult, and that scarcity has driven up its collector value dramatically. The Denver Mint legacy. The D Mint mark on the 1982 quarter signifies that it was struck at the Denver Mint in Colorado, one of the most productive mints in the country. The Denver Mint has long been known for its precision and high-quality production, but even so, not every coin that came out of the facility in 1982 was perfect. During this period, there were occasional striking variations, weak details, and planchet issues, which have made error coins from this year particularly desirable. 1982 D quarter errors and varieties. Let's talk about what makes certain 1982 D quarters worth far more than face value. Collectors go wild for error coins, those unique pieces that escape the mint with small mistakes or unusual features. Some of the most notable errors seen in 1982 D quarters include off-center strikes, coins that were not properly aligned when struck, leaving parts of the design missing or off balance. The more off-center the strike, the higher the potential value. Double die errors. These occur when the die used to strike the coin was engraved twice at slightly different angles, creating a doubling effect on letters or numbers. Clipped planchet errors. These are coins that were cut incorrectly from the metal strip, resulting in a curved or missing edge. Weak strike coins. Some 1982 D quarters show faint or incomplete details due to low striking pressure. Any of these variations can turn a simple 25-cent piece into a highly sought-after collectible worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on condition and rarity. Why the 1982 D quarter is so popular among collectors. The popularity of the 1982 D Washington quarter isn't just about its errors or its lack of mint sets, it's also about the coin's place in American numismatic history. It represents the changing times of U.S. coinage and the economic pressures that shaped how coins were made and distributed. Collectors appreciate it as both a symbol of craftsmanship and a piece of history that marks the beginning of a new era in modern American coins. Furthermore, because so many of these coins circulated heavily, finding one today in truly gem uncirculated condition, graded MS66 or higher, is incredibly rare. These high-grade coins often come from carefully preserved rolls or collections that were never opened or handled. When they appear at auction, they command impressive prices that surprise even experienced collectors. The value of the 1982 D Washington quarter. Now, let's get into the most exciting part, the value. What is your 1982 D Washington quarter actually worth today? In circulated condition, most 1982 D quarters are worth their face value, 25 cents. However, if you find one in uncirculated condition, with sharp details, bright luster, and no signs of wear, the value can jump significantly. In the lower uncirculated grades, MS60 to MS63, these coins might be worth anywhere from a few dollars to around $20. But when you reach higher grades, such as MS65 or MS66, the price increases dramatically. These top-tier examples are often sold through coin dealers, auction houses, or online marketplaces, and they fetch serious attention from buyers who know their rarity. The real stars, however, are the perfectly preserved coins, graded MS67 or higher. These are the coins that show flawless surfaces, stunning brilliance, and perfect strike details. When such a coin appears on the market, it can sell for an astonishing amount, a true collector's dream. The record-breaking sale, one of the most extraordinary examples of the 1982 D Washington quarter dollar, made headlines when it sold for a remarkable sum in a prestigious coin auction. The combination of its perfect condition, strong strike, and beautiful luster made it one of the finest known specimens of its kind. The final hammer price left collectors speechless and forever cemented the 1982 D quarter as one of the most valuable modern quarters in circulation. That record-breaking 1982 D Washington quarter sold for an incredible $42,255. The lesson for coin collectors. So what can we learn from this story? The 1982 D Washington quarter is proof that valuable treasures can still be found in everyday change. While millions of these coins were made, only a handful have survived in perfect mint condition. Every coin tells a story, and this one speaks of history, economy, and the enduring legacy of America's most famous founding father. If you ever come across a bright, sharp 1982 D quarter that looks like it just left the mint, take a closer look. Examine the fine details, the edges, and the mint mark. Because hidden among the ordinary, there could be a rare gem worth thousands of times its face value. We're diving deep into one of the most intriguing coins in American history, the 1988 D Washington quarter dollar. This is not just any ordinary pocket change. This small piece of metal tells a story of minting history, craftsmanship, errors, rarity, and incredible collector demand that has made it one of the most talked about coins among numismatists. So grab your coin jar, sit back, and let's explore the fascinating tale of the 1988 D Washington quarter and why one particular coin sold for a jaw-dropping amount that you'll hear at the end of this video. The history behind the Washington quarter. To understand why the 1988 D Washington quarter is so valuable, we must first appreciate the history of the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of the first President of the United States, George Washington. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the coin became one of America's most iconic pieces of circulating currency. On the obverse, you see the proud portrait of George Washington facing left, his image symbolizing leadership, integrity, and patriotism. The reverse features the majestic bald eagle, wings spread wide, clutching arrows and olive branches, a symbol of strength and peace. This timeless design would continue to appear for decades, becoming a staple of American coinage until major design changes began in the late 20th century. By 1988, the United States Mint in Denver, Colorado, represented by the D Mint mark, was producing millions of these quarters. However, even though millions were made, only a small fraction holds significant collector value today. What makes some of these coins worth just 25 cents, while others can reach unbelievable amounts? The answer lies in their minting quality, condition, rarity, and fascinating mint errors that turn ordinary coins into extraordinary treasures. Production and mintage facts. The 1988 D Washington quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the main facilities responsible for producing U.S. coinage. In total, more than 500 million quarters were minted that year, around 596,810,688 coins to be exact. That's a massive number. With so many coins produced, you might think it's impossible for one to stand out. But here's where things get interesting. Even though most of these coins were made perfectly and released into general circulation, some came out with unique minting characteristics, small imperfections or striking errors that made them special. Coin collectors, or numismatists, are always on the lookout for these rare variations. The rarity of these error coins is precisely what makes some examples of the 1988 D quarter worth a fortune. Composition and design details. Let's talk about what this coin is made of. The 1988 D Washington quarter is a clad coin, meaning it is composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The coin weighs 5.67 grams and measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter. On its edge, you can see reading, those tiny grooves that run all around the rim, a feature designed to prevent coin shaving, a practice that used to be common centuries ago when coins were made of precious metals. Even though the Washington quarter from this era contains no silver, it still carries immense value for collectors because of its rarity, condition, and the fascinating stories behind individual specimens. Spotting the mint mark now, one of the most important identifiers for any coin is its mint mark. The 1988 D quarter has a small letter, D, located just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse side. This mint mark tells you the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. If you ever find a coin from 1988 without a mint mark, that means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. But our focus here is on the Denver issue, the 1988 D, because that's the one with a fascinating history of rare examples that have fetched high prices at auction. What makes the 1988 D quarter special? So, what sets some 1988 D Washington quarters apart from the rest? First, there's condition. Most quarters from 1988 entered circulation and have been worn down from years of use in daily transactions. However, uncirculated examples, coins that have never been used and retain their original luster, are highly desirable. Coins graded mint state 67 or higher by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC are extremely rare. Then there are error coins. Some 1988 D quarters were struck with off-center errors, double die obverse or reverse errors, die cracks, and weak strikes. Each of these can add significant value depending on how dramatic or unique the error appears. For instance, an off-center strike might show part of the design missing from one edge of the coin, while a double die might make the letters in Liberty or In God We Trust appear doubled. These types of minting anomalies fascinate collectors because they represent unintentional accidents at the mint that slip through quality control, making them one-of-a-kind treasures. Condition and grading, the key to value. Let's take a closer look at the importance of coin grading. Grading determines a coin's condition and is one of the most important factors influencing its market value. Coins are typically graded on the Sheldon scale, which ranges from poor, P1, to perfect mint state, MS 70. A 1988 D quarter found in circulation with heavy wear might only be worth face value, just 25 cents. However, a coin in about uncirculated condition, showing just the slightest wear, might be worth a few dollars. Once you reach higher mint state grades like MS 65 or above, the value can increase dramatically. An MS 67 example can sell for hundreds of dollars, and if you're lucky enough to find a flawless MS 68 or MS 69 specimen, you're looking at a serious collector's item worth thousands. The difference between these grades often comes down to minute details, the presence or absence of tiny contact marks, the sharpness of the strike, and the brilliance of the original luster. Rare varieties and errors to look for when examining your 1988 D quarter. Here are a few special features to look out for that could indicate your coin is worth big money. Double die obverse or reverse. Check the lettering on Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date, 1988. If any of the letters or numbers appear slightly doubled, you might have a valuable variety. Off-center strike. Coins that are not perfectly centered during the minting process can be highly collectible, especially if the date is still visible. Clipped planchet. This happens when a small portion of the coin's edge is missing due to an error in cutting the metal blanks, die cracks or cuts. These appear as raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin caused by cracks in the die. Full strike coins. Coins that show complete details in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers are particularly sought after by collectors. Each of these unique traits can transform an ordinary quarter into a rare collectible piece with substantial value. How to check if your 1988 D quarter is valuable. If you're wondering whether the 1988 D quarter in your possession might be valuable, here's what to do. Start by inspecting it under good lighting and, if possible, use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look for the mint mark. check the overall condition, and note any unusual features or minting errors. That if your coin appears to be in pristine condition or displays an interesting error, the next step is to have it evaluated by a professional coin grading service like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. These organizations will authenticate and grade your coin, giving it an official certification that dramatically increases its market value. Collectors' demand and market trends. The coin collecting market has seen consistent interest in Washington quarters, especially those from the 1980s and 1990s that remain in top condition. The 1988 D quarter is part of this growing trend, as more collectors are completing date and mint mark sets or searching for high-grade examples to add to their collections. Online auction platforms like eBay and Heritage Auctions have recorded strong sales for 1988 D quarters in recent years, particularly for coins graded MS-67 or better. The demand continues to grow because collectors know that these high-grade examples are becoming increasingly scarce as time goes on. Why some 1988 D quarters are worth thousands. The real excitement lies in the few exceptional examples that defy expectations. Imagine a coin that has survived decades without a single scratch or blemish, its details perfectly struck, luster blazing like the day it was minted. These near-perfect coins can command staggering prices because they represent the absolute best of their kind. Add in a rare mint error or unique variety, and you have a coin that becomes a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. That's precisely what happened with one rare 1988 D Washington quarter that stunned collectors when it sold for a remarkable price at auction. We're diving deep into the fascinating story of a small but mighty piece of American history, the 1989 P Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin. At first glance, it may look like just another ordinary quarter that's been jingling in pockets or resting in old drawers for decades. But as you'll soon discover, some of these coins have hidden secrets that make them worth thousands of dollars to collectors today. So if you've ever wondered whether that old quarter sitting in your change jar might actually be worth a small fortune, grab your magnifying glass and stay with me until the very end, because we're about to uncover everything from its history, design, and minting details, to the rare errors and hidden varieties that have turned this 1989 quarter into a collectible treasure worth big money. Let's get started with where it all began, the history behind the 1989 Washington quarter. The Washington quarter has a legacy stretching all the way back to 1932, when it was first introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. Designed by John Flanagan, the coin quickly became a staple in American currency, symbolizing leadership, freedom, and national pride. By 1989, the United States Mint had been producing the Washington quarter for nearly 6 decades. It was still made of the same copper-nickel-clad composition introduced in 1965, 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, after the government removed silver from circulating quarters. The 1989 issue represents the final years before the U.S. began experimenting with new coin designs in the 1990s, leading up to the popular State Quarters series that began in 1999. In many ways, the 1989 P quarter is one of the last of its kind, a classic Washington quarter before the coin's major transformation into a collector-driven series. The mint and its mark. Understanding the P now, let's talk about the mint mark. The 1989 quarters were produced in 3 different U.S. mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The P mint mark, which we're focusing on today, identifies coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most prestigious mints in America. The Philadelphia Mint produced an enormous number of these coins, with a mintage of over 512 million pieces. That's more than 500 million coins. With numbers like that, it's easy to assume all 1989 P quarters are common, but as any seasoned collector knows, not every coin leaves the mint perfectly struck. Among those hundreds of millions are a few rare examples with unique minting errors and superior qualities that make them incredibly valuable today. Design details that define the coin. Let's take a closer look at the design itself, because every tiny detail can make a difference in identifying a valuable specimen. On the obverse side, you'll find the left-facing portrait of George Washington, sculpted by John Flanagan. Above his head, the word Liberty arches proudly. Just beneath his chin, you'll find the famous national motto, "In God We Trust," and below the bust, the year, 1989, is inscribed. If you look carefully to the right side of Washington's ponytail, you'll see the small P mint mark indicating that this coin was minted in Philadelphia, turning the coin over to the reverse, the classic American eagle spreads its wings wide, clutching a bundle of arrows, a symbol of strength and defense, while olive branches beneath represent peace. The inscriptions, United States of America, and E Pluribus Unum, frame the top, while quarter dollar rests at the bottom. Though it's a familiar design, collectors love how clean and balanced the artistry of the Washington quarter remains even after decades. But remember, what makes the 1989 P quarter particularly exciting are the hidden features and potential minting mistakes that slipped through quality control. Common and rare varieties. Most 1989 P Washington quarters are worth face value, just 25 cents, especially if they've been circulated. But the rare ones, the ones that grab headlines, have something special, either an unusual minting error, a high-quality strike, or a pristine, untouched condition that has survived more than 3 decades. Let's explore a few types that have caught collectors' attention. Point 1. Double die obverse, DDO. Some 1989 quarters from the Philadelphia Mint show doubling on the obverse side, usually on the inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust. These doubling errors happen when the coin die strikes the planchet more than once in slightly different positions. Coins with noticeable doubling can be worth several $100s, depending on how clear the error appears. Point 2. Off-center strikes. Another popular error is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank is not properly aligned in the press. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, collectors may pay anywhere from $50 to several $100s for such pieces. Point 3. Broad strike and partial collar errors. If the retaining collar fails during the minting process, it can cause the coin to expand beyond its normal size. That's a broad strike. These coins often look stretched out, with the design flowing closer to the edge. Point 4. Clipped planchets. Occasionally, part of the coin blank gets clipped during production. These clipped planchet errors can make a coin appear as if someone took a small bite out of it. They're not only visually striking but can also command impressive prices from collectors. Point 5. Proof-like or high-grade mint state coins. Now, this is where the real money comes in. Collectors and grading services like PCGS or NGC assign grades to coins based on their condition, from heavily circulated, lower grades, to perfect uncirculated, MS-70. A 1989 P Washington quarter that has remained in flawless condition, showing full luster and sharp detail, can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. How to check if your 1989 P quarter is valuable. So, how do you know if your coin is one of the rare and valuable ones? Here are some steps to help you figure it out. Examine the condition. Hold your coin under good lighting. Look for scratches, wear, or loss of detail. Coins that still have a mirror-like shine and sharp edges are considered uncirculated and command the highest prices. Look for doubling using a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Inspect the words, Liberty, and, In God We Trust. If you notice a shadowed or doubled effect, you might have a double die error. Check for centering issues. See if the design is perfectly aligned or slightly off-center. An off-center strike makes your coin a potential rarity. Weigh the coin. A standard 1989 quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If yours is lighter or heavier, it could have a composition error, making it extremely collectible. Get it graded. If you believe your coin is rare, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade increases credibility and value significantly. Collectors market and value range. Now, let's talk about what these coins actually sell for in today's market. A regular circulated 1989 P Washington quarter is typically worth around face value, just 25 cents. However, once you step into higher conditions or error varieties, prices begin to climb fast. Coins graded MS-65, gem uncirculated, can fetch between $25 and $50. Those in MS-66 or MS-67, with exceptional luster and strike, might sell for $150 to $400, and when we move into the territory of rare mint errors, the value skyrockets. Some coins with double die errors or off-center strikes have sold for over $1,000 at major auctions, but the rarest examples, the ones that are nearly flawless with a perfect strike and eye-catching mint luster, have commanded incredible prices, turning what used to be just another pocket change coin into a piece of numismatic gold. Why the 1989 P quarter remains popular. Collectors love the 1989 P Washington quarter not only for its potential value but also for its place in American coinage. History. It stands as one of the last standard Washington quarters before the state quarter series revolutionized U.S. coin collecting in the late 1990s. It represents the end of an era, the final years before coins became miniature works of art celebrating each state's unique heritage. Because of that, collectors seek out these late 1980s quarters as a link between the old and new generations of U.S. coinage. Also, finding a pristine example from 1989 is becoming more difficult. Millions were spent in everyday transactions, and very few survived in untouched mint condition. That scarcity makes high-grade 1989 P quarters especially desirable today. We're diving deep into the story of one of America's most iconic coins, the 1993 D Washington Quarter Dollar. This small yet powerful piece of history carries more than just 25 cents of face value. It holds stories of minting mastery, American pride, hidden errors, and incredible collector worth. Many people pass by this coin every single day, never realizing that the 1993 D Washington Quarter could be worth far more than its face value. In today's video, we're going to explore everything about this coin, its fascinating history, how to identify rare versions, what makes it valuable, and of course, how one special 1993 D quarter has shocked collectors with its jaw-dropping price tag. History of the Washington Quarter. To truly appreciate the 1993 D Washington Quarter, we first need to understand where it all began. The Washington Quarter series started in 1932, designed to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. Sculptor John Flanagan's portrait of Washington became the face of the new quarter, and it has remained one of the most recognized coin designs in the world for decades. Originally, the coin was struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, giving it that distinct shine and value that collectors adore today. But by 1965, the U.S. Mint shifted to a copper-nickel clad composition, a layer of copper sandwiched between two nickel layers, to meet increasing coin production demands and rising silver costs. From then on, the Washington Quarter evolved into what we hold today in our pockets. The year 1993 was an important one for the series. By this time, the Washington Quarter had already seen decades of circulation and design adjustments, but the Denver Mint continued producing coins with exceptional precision and shine. The D Mint mark, located just right of Washington's ponytail, identifies this specific coin as being struck at the Denver Mint. Minting details and specifications. The 1993 D Washington Quarter was made using the copper-nickel clad composition, consisting of an inner core of pure copper and outer layers of copper-nickel alloy. Each coin weighs 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, and features a reeded edge, the tiny ridges along its side that help prevent counterfeiting and clipping. On the obverse, we see the classic image of George Washington facing left, with the word Liberty above his head, In God We Trust to the left, and the date, 1993, positioned below his neck. The mint mark, D, indicates its origin from Denver, one of the most productive mints in the country. On the reverse, the design showcases a majestic bald eagle with its wings spread wide, clutching arrows in its talons, symbolizing strength and readiness, while olive branches below represent peace. Above the eagle is the motto, United States of America, and just beneath it, the words, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. The denomination, quarter dollar, proudly sits at the bottom. Circulation and mintage. The 1993 D Washington Quarter was produced in large quantities, around 639 million pieces rolled out of the Denver Mint that year. That's a huge number, making this coin seem common at first glance. However, not all coins are created equal. While most went into everyday use, some escaped into the collector's market in pristine condition, uncirculated, shiny, and flawless examples that have become highly sought-after treasures. Most 1993 D quarters you find in change today will have signs of wear, scratches, discoloration, or dulled surfaces from years of circulation. But uncirculated and proof-like examples, stored carefully since minting, can carry much higher value than you'd expect. Understanding what makes it valuable. So, what exactly makes a 1993 D Washington Quarter valuable? Well, it comes down to a combination of rarity, condition, and minting errors. First, condition is everything. Coin collectors use a grading scale ranging from poor, P1, to mint state, MS 70. A coin in MS-70 condition is considered perfect, no scratches, no blemishes, full luster, and crisp details. Most 1993 D quarters found in circulation fall between grades very fine, VF, and extremely fine, EF. But if you happen to have one in mint state, especially MS-67 or higher, you could be holding a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Next, errors and varieties play a big role. During the minting process, small mistakes sometimes occur, and those mistakes can make a coin extremely valuable. Some 1993 D quarters were struck off-center, meaning the design isn't perfectly aligned. Others might show double die errors, where certain letters or parts of the design appear doubled due to die misalignment. There are even rare examples of missing clad layers, where part of the nickel surface didn't bond correctly, leaving a copper appearance on one side. These unusual errors can turn an ordinary quarter into a rare collectible. Then, I appeal matters. Collectors pay more for coins that are visually stunning, coins with bright luster, strong strikes, and no discoloration. Quarters that have been preserved in original mint sets or rolls since 1993 often fall into this category. Grading and market prices. Let's talk about the market. The value of a 1993 D quarter depends heavily on its grade. In average circulated condition, these coins might only fetch their face value, 25 cents. However, as you move up the grading scale, the numbers climb rapidly. In mint state 63, MS 63, a 1993 D Washington quarter can be worth several dollars. In mint state 65, MS 65, the coin's value increases significantly. And in higher grades like MS 67 or MS 68, the value can skyrocket. Professional coin grading services like PCGS and NGC have certified a limited number of 1993 D quarters in such high grades, making them extremely desirable among serious collectors. The combination of rarity, condition, and the Denver Mint's striking quality has pushed these coins to surprising auction results. Rare errors and valuable finds. Now, here's where things get exciting. Over the years, collectors have uncovered some fascinating errors in 1993 D quarters that transformed them from ordinary pocket change into valuable treasures. One known example features a dramatic off-center strike, where nearly 10% of the design is missing, giving it a unique and visually striking appearance. Another variety shows a double die obverse, making the word Liberty appear slightly shadowed or doubled when examined under magnification. There's even talk among collectors about certain 1993 D quarters showing partial collar errors or broad strikes, meaning the coin expanded slightly during striking, resulting in a wider or distorted rim. These anomalies are the result of mechanical glitches during minting, but they're gold mines for collectors. In auctions, high-grade or error 1993 D quarters have stunned audiences by fetching hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars. The thrill of finding one in your change or coin jar makes the hunt all the more exciting. Tips for coin collectors. If you're looking to find or identify a valuable 1993 D Washington quarter, here are some tips. Check the mint mark carefully. Make sure the coin has the D mint mark, which confirms it was made in Denver. Inspect both sides for doubling. Use a magnifying glass to look at Liberty, In God We Trust, and 1993, for any signs of doubling. Examine the coin's surface. Bright luster, sharp details, and clean edges are signs of a higher grade. Check the edges. If the reading, the tiny ridges, looks uneven, it could indicate a striking error. Weigh the coin. An error coin with missing clad layers may weigh less than the standard 5.67 grams. Preserve it carefully. If you suspect you found a rare coin, don't clean it. Place it in a protective holder to avoid scratches or wear. By taking these steps, you could identify a hidden gem worth far more than its face value. The legacy of the 1993 D quarter. The 1993 D Washington quarter is more than just a piece of currency, it's a bridge between history and modern America. By 1993, the coin had already become a familiar symbol of everyday transactions, yet it retained a timeless design and patriotic meaning. Collectors today appreciate it not only for its beauty but for the stories it carries. From the precision of the Denver Mint to the thrill of discovering a rare error coin in change, the Washington quarter continues to hold a special place in American numismatics. Each year of its production tells a different story, and 1993 stands out as one of those years when even ordinary coins can surprise us with extraordinary value. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins of modern U.S. coinage, the 2018 D Mint Mark Washington Quarter Dollar. At first glance, this coin might look like just another quarter in your pocket change, but as we'll uncover today, there's much more to it than meets the eye. Behind its shining copper-nickel surface lies a story of design, history, production, and incredible collector value that has stunned even experienced numismatists. And yes, by the end of this video, you'll discover how one special 2018 D quarter sold for an astonishing $18,255, so grab your magnifying glass, sit back, and let's journey through the story of this fascinating coin, the 2018 D Washington Quarter. The story behind the 2018 quarter dollar. The Washington Quarter has been a proud symbol of America's history and heritage since its introduction in 1932, when it was first struck to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Fast forward to 2018, and the U.S. Mint continued that legacy through the America the Beautiful series, a program that showcased national parks, monuments, and historic sites from across the country. The 2018 quarters were especially exciting because they represented 5 stunning designs, each celebrating a different landmark: Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore in Michigan, Apostle Islands National Lakeshore in Wisconsin, Voyageurs National Park in Minnesota, Cumberland Island National Seashore in Georgia, Block Island National Wildlife Refuge in Rhode Island. Each of these designs captures the beauty and spirit of America's natural treasures. And if your 2018 D quarter comes from one of these designs, you're holding a piece of that story, a tiny work of art that honors the land we love. The D Mint mark, why it matters. The letter D, stamped on the front of the coin, just below Washington's neck, tells us something very important. This quarter was minted at the Denver Mint in Colorado. The Denver Mint has a long and proud tradition of producing billions of U.S. coins every year, but not all coins are created equal. While millions of 2018 D quarters rolled out of the Denver Mint presses, some were struck with tiny differences, known as minting errors or varieties, that can make them worth a fortune. Sometimes the metal planchet was flawed, sometimes the strike was off-center, and other times, a die crack or doubling on the lettering made a coin one of a kind. These rare variations are what drive collectors wild, and what transforms an ordinary quarter into an incredible collectible worth thousands. Design and artistic details. Let's take a moment to appreciate the beauty and craftsmanship of this coin. The obverse, or front, features the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. His iconic image has graced the quarter for nearly a century, representing strength, leadership, and the founding ideals of the United States. But in 2018, the reverse, or back, of the coin told a unique story, depending on which national park it depicted. The details are astonishing: the crashing waves of Pictured Rocks, the lighthouse of Apostle Islands, the canoe of Voyageurs, the soaring birds of Cumberland Island, and the coastal serenity of Block Island. Each design is like a miniature painting captured in metal, rich with texture and depth. Collectors love how these designs not only celebrate nature but also show the artistic evolution of U.S. coinage, proof that even a coin we use every day can be a masterpiece in miniature form, composition and specifications. Now, let's look at the coin's technical details. Because every collector knows that understanding the metal and craftsmanship behind a coin helps reveal its true value. The 2018 D Washington Quarter is made of copper-nickel, consisting of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. It has a weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and a reeded edge. While modern quarters are no longer made of silver like they were before 1965, they still carry significant value, especially when errors, rare conditions, or uncirculated grades come into play. If your coin has a strong strike, full details, and glossy surfaces free of wear, it could be a high-grade specimen, and that's where the serious money comes in. Why some 2018 D quarters are worth thousands. Here's where things get exciting. The value of a 2018 D Washington Quarter depends on several key factors: condition, rarity, and any errors that make it stand out from the rest. Let's break it down. Condition, grade. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect, flawless under magnification. If your coin is in MS-68 or MS-69, you might be sitting on a valuable piece. Uncirculated or mint state coins are often the ones that command the highest prices. Error coins collectors are always on the hunt for unusual minting mistakes. Some 2018 D quarters were found with double die obverse, where letters or numbers appear doubled. Others showed off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or even missing edge reads. These rare errors are like hidden treasures, and the rarer the mistake, the higher the price climbs. Low population A coin's value also depends on how many similar coins exist in that same high grade. If a grading company like PCGS or NGC reports only a handful of examples in perfect condition, collectors will compete fiercely to own one. The hidden gems and pocket change. Now here's the part that makes this story truly fascinating. People across the country have reported finding these valuable 2018 D quarters in their everyday change, from grocery stores, parking meters, or even laundry machines. Imagine getting back a handful of coins and realizing one of them could be worth thousands of dollars. It's the thrill of the hunt that keeps collectors searching. Every coin tells a story, and the 2018 D Washington quarters story is one of discovery, proof that even modern coins can hide secrets waiting to be uncovered. How to check if you have a valuable 2018 D quarter. So how do you know if your 2018 D quarter could be a jackpot coin? Here's a simple checklist. Inspect the mint mark. Make sure you see the clear letter D under Washington's neck. Check for doubling. Look closely at the words Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see doubling or extra thickness, you might have a double die variety. Examine the reverse. Study the details of the design, whether it's Block Island, Apostle Islands, or any of the 2018 national parks. Look for extra metal, cracks, or misplaced elements. Check the edge. Sometimes errors happen on the edge, like missing reading or partial clips. Look for high grade. If the coin looks shiny, uncirculated, and flawless, it could grade high and be worth sending to a professional grading company. Grading and certification. Professional grading can transform your coin's value. When certified by top agencies like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, the coin's authenticity and condition are verified, giving buyers confidence, and increasing its market price. That a coin graded MS-68 or higher could be worth hundreds or even thousands, depending on the demand. And when an error or unique feature is confirmed, prices can skyrocket. Market demand and collector appeal. Modern coin collectors have shown growing interest in America. The beautiful quarters. These coins are not just currency, they're a snapshot of U.S. heritage and artistry. The 2018 D, being part of this historic series, enjoys strong collector demand. Furthermore, because it's relatively new, many high-grade examples remain undiscovered in circulation, meaning the hunt is still alive. And as more collectors seek to complete their sets, demand for pristine examples of the 2018 D quarter will continue to grow. Fun fact: the Denver Mint legacy. Here's a little background trivia. The Denver Mint began striking coins in 1906 and is one of the most advanced coin production facilities in the world. It produces billions of coins each year, yet even with such precision, a few rare and fascinating errors escape into circulation, the kind that make headlines and spark national excitement among collectors. So if your 2018 D quarter shows something a little unusual, don't dismiss it. It could be one of those once-in-a-lifetime finds, the coin that shocked collectors in recent years. A rare 2018 D Washington quarter drew the attention of coin enthusiasts everywhere. This particular coin was found in flawless mint state condition, with exceptional luster and sharp strike, a combination so rare that professional graders gave it one of the highest grades ever recorded for that issue. When it hit the auction block, bidding was fierce. Collectors recognized its rarity and historical importance, and the price soared beyond expectations. By the time the auctioneer's gavel fell, the winning bid stunned everyone watching. That single 2018 D Washington quarter sold for an incredible $18,255, a breathtaking sum for a coin most people might overlook in their change jar. Conclusion: so, the next time you get a handful of quarters, don't just toss them in your drawer. Take a closer look, because you never know what hidden treasures might be waiting. The 2018 D Washington quarter is a perfect example of how modern coins can hold extraordinary value, especially when rarity, condition, and collector passion collide.